Everything wrong with Riot Games.
But rather than just hating on Riot purely because of the existence of League of Legends, let's instead hate on them for some of the stuff that they're actually kinda bad at. For the first 10 years of the company's existence, Riot's only game was League of Legends. They only put the S in Riot Games in 2019 when they released Teamfight Tactics.
Which both of those are just bangers. I know this is a video about what's wrong with Riot Games, but to be that hot off the blocks, I mean, that's pretty impressive.
But any League of Legends player will tell you all of the same stories. Tales of scary scissor ladies being unkillable in the top lane. Of an AD carry with a sword and a gun single-handedly killing an entire team. Every single League player knows that as a general rule, champions released within the last year will be more powerful with more overloaded kits than champions released in the year before that.
Absolutely. Just keep making them stronger. Who cares about the old ones, huh? Who needs Fizz, right?
But it doesn't take a genius to see that newer champions have much more in their kits than the older ones. Their kits are overloaded.
You see this in so many things. And I'm not saying it's not bad. It is. But you see it in things like Pokemon, right? The older Pokemon, they have shit movesets compared to the newer ones sometimes. Like, they just are not able to be widely utilized comparatively to the new meta. Power creep is bad in anime. It's bad in video games. Power creep is something where a company has to be very attentive of it or else it can ruin a franchise.
They want them to have crazy abilities that push the boundaries of what is possible within League of Legends. And it isn't necessarily caused by a tremendous level of complexity in the kit. Champions like Set or Vex are conceptually very simple, but both of their kits have crowd control, higher burst damage, shields, powerful offensive tools, powerful defensive tools, powerful tower diving capabilities, and the list goes on. They're newer, therefore their kit has just everything going for it.
You can take something like this and you can make it so that you can have power creep, but you can rework older characters that revitalizes life into that character and the player base. If they're getting tired of the game because they can't win with their champion that they already know, and you buff them and you switch them up a little to where maybe they have a new attack, that might be a bit drastic. For some people are like, well, why'd you change the attack? Now I can't do this. I'm not used to this anymore. But then you'll also have people who are going to be like, well, now my kit is expanded.
Women who pitched ideas would be shot down, while men pitching the exact same ideas would be praised. They favoured hiring men over women. Multiple female staff members received explicit photos from male co-workers completely out of the blue. Email threads amongst male employees circulated about what it would be like to sleep with certain female employees.
That shouldn't ever fucking happen. Hopefully, everyone who's been involved in that was either, taken care of, as in let go. That type of thing is just not acceptable. You shouldn't be having that. Dumb as hell.
There was a lawsuit created by a former employee that alleged discrimination concerning their pay and their position at the company. The lawsuit ended with Riot being made to pay $10 million to former female employees over the last 5 years for their treatment. Although in 2021, this had been renegotiated by a government body to be giving $80 million to the impacted employees. And
God damn! I mean, that's fucked up that it happened in the first place, but renegotiated for 8 times the amount? Hell yeah. Fuck yeah.
Riot did most of this quietly, and you might have noticed that the talk of these allegations and this lawsuit has basically gone away by now. Because the fact of the matter is, the consumer doesn't care about the company's words.
Riot basically got bailed out, mostly because Blizzard Activision kind of shit the bed for the exact same thing. That's because Blizzard did what they did, but worse. They're both fucked up for what they did.
So Riot did the smart thing. They kept their head down. They handled the lawsuit as best as they could, and they released the best content.
If you were suing a company for what happened to you, and it was as an individual and you had all of the evidence, right, you'd probably sue for more. That's all I'm saying. If it was exactly 2,000, then they each got 40,000. Really, a lot of times, 40,000 in the court of law, what you're suing a giant multi-conglomerate company for is not really anything. At the end of the day, no money's going to be enough, but it doesn't hurt to maybe get a bit more than anywhere from $26,000 to $40,000.
The consumer doesn't actually care about how much you apologize or how much you strive to be better. The consumer just wants your content to be good.
You could say the same thing about content creators. It doesn't matter how many times a content creator is canceled, as long as that content creator is not deplatformed, they will still have an audience. Yeah, that's why Miz can still hit 20K. That's why people thought Logan Paul was coming back. A lot of people were like, oh, hey, maybe he's not as much of a douchebag anymore. I'm not even going to explain what has just occurred.
Content is king. People are willing to forgive and forget a lot of stuff if the content is worth it. The public opinion of Riot Games has literally never been better. Whereas if we take a company like Blizzard, for example, they have had basically the exact same sexual misconduct allegations risen against them too.
Exactly.
But whereas Riot makes banger after banger, Blizzard is constantly dropping the ball and disappointing their fan base. And you'll notice that Blizzard's controversies are still brought up many years later, and that's no coincidence.
The most a person can do in general is apologize. When that happens, does the company shut down, stop all operations? I don't think so. If you took down the whole company, there would be a lot of people who didn't do anything affected by it who rely on those jobs. New player experience. Oh my God. I'm the perfect person for this. From someone who had never played Valorant, very inexperienced with League of Legends. I just get shit on and people get angry at me. There is no room for improvement. I am scared to play a ranked game because I just don't want to get yelled at for something I may not know. They don't tell me things.
It likes to make complex games, and that's great, because complex games are usually the ones that still have players 10 years later. But Riot has a really, really big problem explaining to new players what the hell is going on. And League's tutorial, the entire thing, is at most 20 minutes long. And it's also just completely terrible.
What's funny is Wild Rift, the mobile version for League of Legends, has a better tutorial. It actually teaches you about jungling, which is wild. Microtransactions. I knew this was coming.
Needs microtransactions. For the game to get continued development, the developers need to get money from the project to fund.
League is not worth, player. Never start. It's a trap.
New content. And microtransactions are how free games do this. Their skins are extremely expensive. It can cost upwards of $70 to $80 to fully upgrade one single skin. But what a lot of players fail to realize is that battle passes are very sneaky because they try to foster habit and addiction in the player base.
Yeah, it's a job at the end of the day. If you don't log in and you don't get your dailies, they are tricking you into a recurring cycle of either playing their game or looking to see what is in the shop, so it's more likely that you will play. Their whole goal is to keep you in the store for as long as possible. Same thing with Costco. It's so big, so complicated, because they want you to go through all of the aisles, see everything, and they want to make it so it's the more likely it is that you're going to buy more.
Riot's microtransactions, for the most part, are better than a lot of other companies out there.
I was going to say, as far as the gambling with CSGO for Valve, I mean, that's pretty bad too. I think if you analyze a lot of companies, you're going to find something fucking wrong. But can they be better in the future, and should that affect everyone who works there? I don't think so. Do I have a solution? Absolutely not.
But that doesn't make them without fault, because clearly Riot is flawed in many ways, just like every games company is. And we shouldn't let them get away with it without criticism.
If you think any company has your back, you're wrong. It's capitalism. No company has your back. You can have companies who will work with you, try and make it a relationship that, you scratch their back, they scratch yours. Yeah, there's no ethical consumption in capitalism. You're always going to be consuming something and you should feel bad about it. No company is good. Does that mean everything's bad? Maybe. Yeah, well, maybe capitalism's not the greatest. In other news, let's talk to Hassan Piker.